Story 1. I hope everyone is doing well during this pandemic, especially those of you with children. Let me tell you, it's been tough. My wife is a doctor and was reassigned to a hospital a few hours away. She's been staying at a hotel for weeks, so it's only been me with our daughter. Her name is Lily, and she is 4 years old. She hasn't been too happy being cooped up inside all these months. In an effort to distract her from this admittedly boring quarantine, I bought her a doll. The doll has blonde hair and wears a dark blue dress with flowers on it. When you squeeze its chest, it says various loving statements, such as, "I love you," "Give me a hug," "You're the best." My daughter named the doll Penelope. Our dog, Colonel, a German Shepherd, never liked Penelope. Ever since Lily excitedly ripped open its box, Colonel has been aggressive towards it. Whenever he sees Lily playing with Penelope, he growls. In fact, at one point, he picked it up and tried to run out the door. I thought nothing of it. Colonel has always been protective, and maybe this quarantine has been driving him a little crazy too. Nonetheless, ever since I bought Lily this doll, she has been behaving very well. No more crying, no more complaints about boredom, no more begging to see her friends. She was suddenly content, and I couldn't complain. It was nice to finally get some work done for once. Things started getting a bit weird once my daughter told me that Penelope was saying things that she wasn't programmed to say. At first, it was little things like, "Don't forget to put me right next to you in bed tonight, Lily," or, "You better always love me." Lily has quite the imagination, so I brushed it off, but I started getting worried when Lily began telling me that the doll was saying more disturbing things. Things like, "Lily is such an ugly name, your parents must not love you," or, "Make sure you don't let that ugly mutt near me, or I'm going to rip its head off," and most offensively, "Your father is such a waste of life that he should just drive straight into a tree." I didn't think that Lily would make things up like that, and it was getting darn right creepy. Thus, I took the doll away from Lily. I threw it straight into the trash. I told her that Penelope was going on a vacation for a while. I gave her a new video game instead, so she didn't mind too much. A few days later, I heard Colonel crying in the basement. Annoyed, because he knows he isn't supposed to go down there, I walked down the stairs. Colonel was lying on his side near the foot of the stairs. There was a large gash in his stomach. He was bleeding profusely. "Colonel, what happened, boy?" I screamed, as I kneeled next to him to inspect his wound. My stomach sank. Penelope was sitting in the dark, a few yards away from Colonel. There was blood near her mouth. Confused and also angry, I grabbed her and unintentionally squeezed her in the process. "I told your hideous daughter to keep that ugly mutt away from me. She will be next," the doll said, followed by a friendly chuckle. Needless to say, I made sure that never happened. After Lily went to bed that night, I lit a fire in the fireplace. I placed the doll in there and watched it burn. Colonel made a full recovery, and I never bought Lily another doll again. Stay safe during this quarantine. You never know what might be lurking inside your own home. Story 2. Since the start of the pandemic, I've been working as a delivery driver for one of the most famous food delivery companies. It wasn't the best job, but I really needed the money, and it was all I could find given the mandatory quarantine in effect. Plus, I live within driving distance of a very wealthy area. Thus, the tips are usually pretty good. It was one of my first nights delivering. It was a very brisk night, and it was at the height of the quarantine. Nobody was going anywhere at all, and everyone was freaking out. Nonetheless, people still have to eat, and Americans love their greasy, unhealthy pizza. Not that I didn't either. There is nothing like a hot piece of pepperoni on a cold night, but I digress. Well, someone ordered 3 large pies of pizza. I thought it was a bit weird that someone made such a large order, seeing that gatherings of more than 5 were banned for the time being, but I figured they just wanted to have some extra leftovers. I went to the local pizza place to pick up the order and headed to the house to make the delivery. I had never delivered to this particular customer before, but I just started a few days prior, so I thought nothing of it. The house was a bit of a drive away, and it was down this large private road. It was located in a wealthy area. The neighborhood was very swanky. The houses were all located many acres apart, giving residents privacy. I drove down the long gravel driveway towards the house. It was massive. The house was an all-brick colonial. It had to have over 10 bedrooms. One old Cadillac sat in the driveway. I pulled up in front of the house, grabbed the pizza, and rang the bell. Above the door was one of those security cameras that everyone has, the ones that notify you on your phone when someone is at your door. This house also had a speaker, so they were able to talk to whomever was waiting on the stoop. About a minute passed, and I rang the bell again. The pizza was getting heavy, so I was getting a bit annoyed. After another minute without an answer, I knocked heavily on the door. I had other deliveries to make, and I didn't have time for this. The camera on the door lit up. "Hi, please come up with the pizza. I can't walk down the stairs," an old lady mumbled over the speaker. I could sense an ever so small bit of hesitation in her voice. "I'm not allowed to come inside, ma'am. I don't want to break the quarantine," I replied. I felt bad, but I wasn't supposed to be near people, and I really didn't feel comfortable entering a stranger's house in the middle of the night, especially when she sounded a bit hesitant. "I understand. I'll wait in my room. I already left a nice tip out on the kitchen table, right up the stairs," the woman pleaded. Well, my compassion got the best of me. I took my mask out and put it on. "Okay, ma'am, I'm coming in now," I said reluctantly. I slowly pushed open the door. I thought it was a bit odd that this woman left her door unlocked, seeing that she couldn't make it down the stairs, but I continued into the house. The house was dark and smelled very old. The only room with lights on was the kitchen, which was right up the stairs. I walked up the long flight of stairs towards the kitchen. Each stair creaked as I made my way up. Finally, I was up the stairs and walked into the kitchen. I put the pizza down on the table. I looked around the table and became annoyed. There wasn't any money on the table. Customers pay for their meals on the app, but the big tip she promised me was nowhere to be found. As I began searching on the floor, a long shadow emerged over me. Startled and annoyed, as I didn't want to be near anyone, I quickly turned around. It wasn't an old woman. It was a large man. He was dressed in all black. His face was expressionless. Without saying a word, I quickly stood up and inched back towards the stairs. Suddenly, another light was turned on in the room to the left of the kitchen. 2 other men appeared. They too were wearing all black. I sprinted down the stairs. After stumbling down half the front stoop, I quickly unlocked my car door and jumped in. I locked the doors immediately. As I began turning the key in the ignition, the 3 men appeared near the front door. They slowly opened it and began walking down the stoop. It was so strange. They were walking very slowly, and all had this same expressionless look on their faces. It reminded me of one of those slasher films, when the killer walks slowly after the soon-to-be victim. I put my foot down hard on the pedal, and drove the car in reverse all the way down the long driveway. When I got to the street, I hightailed out of there and called the police. The police searched the house and found many valuables thrown all over the place. It was clearly a robbery. Nothing prepared me for what they were about to say. An old woman was found dead in her bedroom. She was suffocated. It was clear that they forced the woman to tell me to come in the house in an effort to make me take my guard down. I stopped delivering food after that. The tips were good, but nothing is as important as my safety. To all you delivery guys out there, never enter a house. No matter how much of a tip is involved, you never know who is really behind that door. Story 3. My name's John. I'm 13 years old. I have a younger brother named Oliver who is 5. My mom is a single parent. I'm proud to say she's a nurse and has been helping out a ton of people during this pandemic. Seeing that my mom is an essential worker and we don't have any family in the area, she had to hire a babysitter to watch us during her many overnight shifts. Since most people didn't want to risk exposure to the virus, she didn't have too many choices. A young woman named Mary was the first and only person willing to take the job. Mary was a woman around the age of 39. She was from a few towns away. It was a bit of a commute for her, but she said that she really wanted to watch us. Have you ever met someone who was just a bit too overbearing and intrusive? Yeah, well, that summed up Mary. The first night she came to watch us started off relatively normal. She introduced herself to us and asked us a bunch of questions about ourselves. My mom left her money to order us pizza. Mary didn't think it was healthy for us to eat pizza. Instead, she ordered us Greek salads without any dressing. Why can't we have pizza like Mom said? I pleaded. Pizza is not good, my babies. You must eat healthy to be big and strong, Mary replied, all too enthusiastically. Over the next few weeks, Mary kept micromanaging everything we did. When Mom left us money for dinner, or even prepared a certain meal for us, Mary would always make something healthier. When Mom told us we could stay up past 10 to watch a movie, Mary still put us to bed by 8 p.m. sharp. When Mom said we could have friends over, Mary would never allow it, always saying, "Nobody is good enough to hang out with my babies." I know all of this stuff seems weird, but I thought she simply cared about us. We never told Mom any of it. We didn't want to bother her when she was off saving lives. The night it all got to be too much was a cold night in April. Mom was on her third overnight shift in a row. Mary came over with an especially large smile on her face. After Mom left, Mary told us we were going to go for a nice ride and visit her family for a few days. She said they lived a few hours away. Mary, Mom should know about this. I'm going to give her a call, I declared. No, my baby, you don't need to call her. I already told her, she said, as she snatched my phone out from my hand and placed it into her purse. I knew this was all a lie because Mom said she told Mary that we can't leave the house due to the pandemic. Mary quickly grabbed Oliver and brought him out to the car. She strapped him into a car seat. It was at this point that I realized I had to stall. We aren't going, Mary, I yelled as I began crying profusely. Get in the car, baby. Mommy loves you, she whispered, grabbing me by my arm. You aren't my mother, I screamed as I ran towards the car and began unbuckling Oliver's car seat. Mary went silent. A scowl replaced her eternal smile. She leaped towards me and pinned me to the ground. Do as Mommy says, dear, or you'll be in trouble, she yelled as she breathed heavily into my face. Suddenly, a car pulled into the driveway. It was my mother. She had forgotten some of the extra face masks she needed to bring to work. Help, Mom! I screamed. Mary got off of me and began crying. My mother looked very alarmed. She told me to bring my brother back inside and to go to our rooms. The police showed up soon after that, and we never saw Mary again. Mom said Mary once had kids of her own and was very upset that she lost them in an accident. It took a while, but we got a new babysitter after that. Plus, Mom installed cameras in the house so that she can always keep an eye on us. Always make sure you research who you hire to watch your kids. They might be totally normal, or they might just be a lunatic.